Hi, this is Emily from Studio Coe, and today I'm coming to you with a tutorial about Gimp, so let's jump into it. Today we'll be doing a project where there's animals in the sky that look like clouds. So I need you to go onto the internet and download an image of a slightly cloudy sky and whatever animals you would like to use for this project. This isn't going to go over everything, but it is a fun way to start experimenting with the software. So my animal pictures are from National Geographic, and this is my slightly cloudy sky. To begin, I'm going to go over to my layers, which is at the bottom right-hand corner of my screen. You'll see the eyeball, and I want to duplicate this layer. To duplicate the layer, I will click on it, and I will hit the two rectangles overlapping each other at the bottom here. All right, now I have two slightly cloudy layers, and I want to make a pink sky. So how do I make a pink sky? Well, I'm going to make a new layer once more, and I'm going to call this layer pink. I love Gimp because it always prompts you to name your layer, and you should do that in any software you use. Also, at the very bottom it says fill with. You're going to want to change that to transparency. Okay? And if you didn't see how I added a new layer, it is the little piece of paper with a plus sign over it. And now I want to add that pink sky that I am so excited about. To do that, I'll need the gradient tool in the upper left-hand corner. Now, if you don't see the gradient tool, it's where the bucket fill tool is, but you'll need to right-click and change it to the gradient tool. And then you'll come down to your color selection and change this to whatever color you want your gradient to start with. I do want mine to be pink, but if I didn't, I could just change it by moving these cross arrows or altering any of these bars. So I'm going to keep it a light pink, maybe a little darker. Okay. And then I'm going to come to the bottom of my template, my screen or my sky, and I'm going to hold and drag up while clicking. And if I wait a second, that gradient will fill in, and I'll be able to adjust and see how high up I want my pink to go. And if I wanted it to change into a different color, there's an endpoint box that pops up when you use the gradient tool. You simply click on that color, and it will pop up with the same screen that you had earlier to change colors with. I personally love this blue, so I'm just going to keep it the same. All right, I'm going to go back to my Move Selection tool, and you're probably wondering at this point, well, I can't see the slightly cloudy sky. This is what's super awesome. We're going to go to Mode, which is in the right-hand side, right above Opacity. It says Mode, and then you're going to get a whole bunch of options. Now, this is how the layer interacts with the layer below it. For our purposes today, we're going to use HSL Color because it's going to give us some bright, vivid colors over our sky. I love that. It's a little too intense though, so I'm going to take it down on the opacity. Now we're going to jump to one of our animal layers over here, and I'm going to go to the monarch butterflies, and I'm going to take this opportunity to show you guys the lasso tool. It's the free select tool, but if you see the scissors or the foreground select, it is within those tools. So go ahead and click on it, or its shortcut key is F. So if you just click F, you'll pull that right up. And make sure your layer is selected. And now the awesome thing about this particular project is you do not have to be precise. So you could definitely do this with a mouse. This just keeps it so when you copy and paste your butterfly layers, or if you want multiple of any animal, don't delete each other out by removing that blank space. So I'm going to roughly sketch around these butterflies. See, it does not have to be very precise at all. And once it's connected, it will go into a select layer. I'm going to Control-C, Control-V. In Gimp, it becomes a floating selection. So if you go to your layers, you'll see floating selection. You'll want to go down to that piece of paper with the plus sign, which is now highlighted green, and click that to make it its own individual layer, and just make the layer below it invisible. Then you're going to go up to colors. This is how we're going to adjust it so that it will be a perfect mask layer combined in our sky GIMP file. So you're going to invert it, and then you're going to go to image, and this is all up at the top. So colors, invert, image, go to mode and change it to grayscale. It takes a second for that grayscale to kick in. Awesome. We're going to Control A and then Control C. Go back over to your sky. We are going to make another new layer. This time we're going to call it mask, and we don't want it to be filled with transparency. We want it to be white. Hit OK. And then you're going to move that layer down. Alright, so I moved the mask layer below the first slightly cloudy layer. Gonna click back on the slightly cloudy layer, and we're going to right click, add layer mask. And you want it to be a white mask again. Gonna add that layer. And then you're gonna make sure you're clicked on the mouse and do a Control V. And you'll see your butterflies pop up. And if you want to change the size of it, don't go to image because that will alter your entire image's size. Go to layer at the very top, scale layer, and then I know my sky image is probably too small. I'm going to go ahead and scale it down to about 600. Alright, so that's still a little big, but it's a bit more manageable. So I'm going to right click on this and go to Tools, Transform Tools, and then we're going to go to Scale, or Shift S is the key for this in the future. So that's the shortcut, but if you ever forget the shortcut, that is how you get to it. And the same with Rotate. And then I will place them wherever I would like to place them. And if I want to rotate it, you can find it in the same place, or you can hit Shift R, and that allows you to rotate. So I'm going to copy those and then paste. And so it gives me a whole new floating layer. I like to hit Shift S for when I want to move. And you can see where the old one is. And I could just copy and paste and go from Shift S to Shift R to get butterflies all over this canvas. So I'm not going to spend the whole time in this tutorial doing that. You can kind of experiment and get the idea. But in general, now you can see how they look like clouds mixed in with the other clouds. And I would go to my tiger image and do the same thing. So I'll do that real quick. Alright, so we're back to our screen here, and you can see that I've added the tiger. And I'm going to go ahead and also anchor that to the mask layer. So all of these are anchored to the mask layer. And if I want to change anything, I click on mask. You'll see how the tiger has a hard, sharp line, and that looks a little odd. So I'll go up to the upper left-hand corner and click on the eraser. And the awesome thing about the eraser is you have so many options. It's really like a paintbrush in this way. So I can select one that will give me more of a cloud effect, and I'll take the opacity down as well. So I have the brush and I have my opacity about 50. So if you didn't have that bottom extra layer that we did in the beginning, the mask layer would be erasing right now to transparency. But if you mess up and you erase something you don't want to erase, the awesome thing about GIMP is if you hold Alt with your eraser tool, you can put back those pixels that you erased on accident. And the last tool I want to show you guys is the airbrush tool. And I want to make sure that I am on white. I want to create a new layer, and I'll call this layer Clouds, and I want it to be transparent. Okay, I have my color selected. And now I'm just going to airbrush over the top to get more of a cloud look. It can really blend. Also, another way to blend is to go down to your mask layer and change its opacity so that the images aren't so sharp and they're more light and fluffy like clouds. So go in with the airbrush and eraser and just touch a few things up, duplicate whatever you want, You can go to the eyedropper tool. Make sure you have the layer that has the color you want to select selected. So let's say I wanted to put some pink back in the cloud. I'd need to make sure to select the pink layer. Go back to the airbrush, make sure my clouds layer is selected. Airbrush that pink in. That also allows me to airbrush some pink at the top. Go back and forth with blue, so on and so forth. So this is just a really quick, fun way to experiment and just have fun with GIMP. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at studiocoe105@gmail.com. That's studiocoe105@gmail.com. Thank you.